Anytime that we get even a second of new music from Frank Ocean, it's a time to celebrate and rejoice for the entire music community. And Frank Ocean has done just that. He's graced his Instagram with a new snippet previewing some new music. And it looks like we might be in for a new rollout. Maybe the album comes out this year. Maybe it comes out in 20 years. At this point, we have no idea. But we're going to be taking you guys through this entire rollout. So if you do want to stay tuned, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And let us know down in the comments, do you think Frank Ocean will be dropping new music soon? So, Ant, how do you feel about this? There's been a lot of rumblings about Frank Ocean coming back after, what is it now, almost like 8 years at this point. So what did you feel in terms of emotions when you got to hear that snippet?
I think there's two ways you could look at this. Either you go deeper into your depression knowing that this is maybe just a snippet and you're not getting a new Frank Ocean album for another decade, or the sense of excitement that maybe the rollout is finally upon us. And I don't know, I'm kind of split in the middle with this because I was just kind of listening to the snippet and I'm like, man, this would sound incredible on a new studio album. Give it to me, Frank.
Yep.
Like, I am super down for a new studio album. But, this has happened in the past. We've gotten snippets. We've even gotten single runs. And of course, Frank Ocean has gone through a lot in the past couple of years that has potentially delayed the music. And, his personal life comes first. And I want to say that, like, really take the time you need to be able to create new music. And he spoke about that earlier this year. But I think that a lot of people are really excited for the new Frank Ocean music, considering even the reception on Twitter. Like, I was going through our tweet that we put up, and the amount of people that were just absolutely salivating at the fact that there's even a chance that this snippet might not even be 20 seconds long, that there is a new chance at new Frank Ocean music, not even an album, not even a song, just new music, whatever the format is quite interesting to me. So
that would be pretty tragic
It would
if Frank Ocean is just like teasing millions of his fans and doesn't end up doing anything. But to be honest with you, I think it's time. I think that we're now at an era where Frank Ocean has had a lot of time to work on new music. There was even reports of him shopping around an album in 2021. Obviously, nothing ever came of that, but he also just headlined Coachella, which was massive. There was also a picture that surfaced at some point this year of him working on new music in London with a baby next to him. That was pretty interesting. Also, Rosalia, back in 2022, had come out and said that she was in the studio with Frank Ocean. So we know for a fact, like, he's not locked up in a basement somewhere. He is active. He is working on new music. And at this point, I'm just really excited with a bunch of emotions of gratitude, because anytime that Frank Ocean does give you a studio album, it's one of those unforgettable experiences, because no one can evoke emotion the way that he can, and the way that he's also just flipped R&B on its back and, sort of reinvented the genre for this modern era the same way that Prince did, for example. It makes you want to listen every single time.
Yeah, decade-defining moments every single time he drops.
And let me ask you this. There was also rumblings of, like, a dance album. I think this was in, like, 2019 or 2020. So do you think that could maybe be, like, the aesthetic of this new project, or do you think that he's totally moved on from that idea?
I have no idea, man. I'm not in Frank Ocean's studio.
I know. I just want to play. I just want to have a barbershop conversation and just shoot the shit with you, because it's fun to speculate. But honestly speaking,
but based on the snippet, though, I think that's probably the best piece of information we have at this point.
And it doesn't sound like it's dance music.
No, it doesn't sound like it's dance music. You hear these beautiful synths in the background, and Frank Ocean's just classic cadence and vocals like ringing off throughout. It's a really. I was listening to that snippet. I'm like, man, can I low-key get this in MP3 format so I could import it onto my Apple Music? But all jokes aside, I do agree with you. I do think it's time, and I'll give you a reason why, at least on my end. It's going to be 8 years, right? It is really like a hyped-up album still at this point. And, even after all the Coachella stuff that had happened this year, and people were kind of angry at his performance, and they were saying, well, he should have came maybe a bit more prepared, or there should have been an actual performance. I think that we could kind of leave that in the past, and we could just kind of talk about the music now and the hunger of the music, regardless of the way that people feel about the rollout of his new album over the course of these past 8 years. There's a certain mystique that has stuck to Frank Ocean, and I feel like that is the number one driver to this entire album. So I do feel like if he was to go into an album rollout, that would be a prominent emotion and a prominent tactic, let's say, throughout the entire rollout, if I had to speculate.
I think we're in for one of two things. The first option being this being the beginning of a rollout where you have the snippet, he ends up dropping a single maybe towards the end of this year, and then announces a studio album for 2024, maybe alongside a tour as well, where he goes into his full artist bag. So that's option A. I think option B, which in my opinion is more likely, is that we end up getting a surprise album from Frank Ocean. Because a lot of people have to understand that he doesn't have to play the music industry game. Frank Ocean has always been on his own path. He's not signed to a major label. And if he wants to drop a surprise album the way that he did with Blonde, he can do that again now.
So you think we're getting a surprise Frank Ocean
I think it's going to be maybe not a surprise anymore because he's been hinting at music and obviously gave us a snippet. But I think that it will come on any given Friday because Frank Ocean, at least in my opinion, seems like the type of artist that puts out music to bless his fans and not to, make a bag or not to maintain relevancy. Because if he wanted to, he could have had a Lauryn Hill type of career where he has limited amount of music and is able to tour and live off of the music he's already provided the world for how iconic it's become. So I don't feel like he's in a position where he even needs to give us another album.
No, absolutely. He could realistically just tour for the rest of his life.
Timeless music.
Yeah, with Channel Orange and Blonde. I really do feel like they are two generational albums that have stuck through everyone's rotation. And it's crazy to see how Blonde still sounds so fresh and new for 2023, even going into 2024. Think about how many incredible alternative R&B albums that we have gotten. I could really only name a few that I don't even want to
scratch
say play
the
on.
surface.
Yeah, scratch the surface. Don't even play on that level. But you get what I'm trying to say. It's interesting every time Frank Ocean also pops out his head because I feel like he has a certain relationship with his fan base, if that makes sense to you, to where like everything is catered towards them. Like regardless of what's going on or whatever the case may be, it's not like this guy's going out and doing full press rollouts or like he's like super active. No, this guy is legitimately cooking an incredible album for his fan base, and that's something that I have to respect as a fan because whenever you see your favorite artist, let's say, take a long hiatus and like they're just doing a bunch of like side quests while everyone's just really trying to ask for music and people really want, what you're kind of meant to do as an artist, draw music, then that's a completely different story. But as I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, it was really interesting to see the way that he gauged this whole situation, especially after what had happened with his brother and the way that, he had gone through those trials and tribulations and the way that he came back after that. So I think even from a content matter standpoint, the fans want to see what he's been up to over the past 8 years since 2016, just to be able to relate to Frank again, to be able to get into that bag of evoking emotion and to be able to get back to that personal relatability factor with Frank Ocean's music. I think that's what it does best. And, I'm not even expecting another Blonde. I'm not expecting another Channel Orange. I just want something that's going to feel incredible for my rotation and something that's going to be able to stand the test of time. So let me ask you, like just looking at the community reception right now, because Frank Ocean dropped this snippet, maybe an hour ago, and now we're back in the studio talking about it. From what you've seen in this hour, at least online in the communities, how do you feel like the fan base is reacting to this type of stuff?
There's no one else that's more anticipated to drop. That's how people are reacting, where people are losing their fucking minds because of the weight that we've had to endure. And also, like I said, just the type of artist that he is, someone that you can't pin down sonically. It's impossible to guess what he's going to give you. Is he going to lean towards pop? Is he going to lean towards R&B, dance music, hip hop? You have no fucking idea. That's the beauty of a Frank Ocean release, and I think that's why people are foaming at the mouth for a new album, because he's guaranteed to give you a brand new experience, to give you music that will, stand the test of time, like Nostalgia Ultra, like Channel Orange, and like Blonde have done. And Frank Ocean is just in this rare space right now where...
And shout out to Endless as well.
Of course, Endless as well. But he's in this rare space right now where he could do what he wants creatively, and that will lead to incredible results, in my opinion.
And what's so interesting, too, is that the whole landscape of digital marketing and music marketing has changed, right, since 2016. And I feel like Frank is a great example of someone that is able to stay grounded within his releases and not have to conform to anything, not have to, start doing any bait shit, or not having to, like, let's say, create false expectations about anything. Like, all of this has been speculation coming from the fan base. When it comes to Frank Ocean, like, there's legitimately nothing. He is just showing pictures of studio sessions, or maybe even like this, previewing new music that might or might not end up on a new album. And that's what I respect about Frank Ocean as well, is that he's taken time, but he's also tried to give you as much as he can without revealing too much. Because as I said, you don't want to have this whole rollout ruined, because the mystique is everything. You know, the element of surprise. Like, we just finished up recordings, and I get a text from Fajeh in the group chat, and we're like, fucking Frank Ocean just previewing new music.
Yeah.
What does that even mean? Frank Ocean is previewing new music.
Sounds like a daydream or something.
Absolutely. So now looking at this snippet, I guess if you want to play the speculation game or a podcast, let's do it. Let's play the speculation game. What do you expect sonically now? Just hearing that snippet.
Honestly speaking, I mean, I definitely got some Channel Orange vibes just instrumentally with the use of the synths and how, I would say, how patient his delivery was. I think that, again, it's a lot of the love, heartbreak type of topics that you can find across all of Frank Ocean's music. So, honestly, it doesn't really open up a foray into a new direction just yet, but mind you, I'm basing this off of 30 seconds. So I'm kind of left with more question marks than answers, and I think that's normal right now because we don't know much about what the new music is going to entail, but I could definitely say that it doesn't seem too far gone from what I'm used to hearing from Frank Ocean.
That's very true.
How do you feel?
It does feel within Frank Ocean's wheelhouse, and I think that's maybe what he wants to deliver on for his fans,
Maybe.
right? Because at the same time, you have a lot of people that want to hear from Frank Ocean, and I guess just the wait alone and the hiatus have been able to keep people waiting and, you know, keep people guessing. So if you come back with that sound that maybe feels a bit similar for people, and that brings them back to that time, but with a new modern twist, new production styles, but, you know, just to create that similar and familiar sort of Frank sound once again, I think fans will be very happy with that. And of course, you know, I want to ask you about something else, all right? So you said he had a lot of questions rather than answers. What are some of those questions? Like, what do you want answered, let's say, as a fan, over the next couple of months, over the next couple of years, over the next couple of decades, maybe at your deathbed? Like, what do you want at this point answered, you know?
At this point, yeah, I want to know what Frank Ocean's intentions are, you know, with this new music. I want to know who he's been cooking up with. I want to know, you know, what's inspired this new album in terms of his personal experiences, in terms of other music that's been coming out in recent times, just because apart from Frank Ocean not being active on the music side, he hasn't been active on the interview side. So we really don't know where his head's at whatsoever. So, I mean, I just have questions, again, just about the formulation and the conception of everything he's planning to bring to the table. And of course, that fucking release date.
Yeah.
Like, that's the biggest of all. Is that
so let
release
me
date
ask you
for
another
that album?
question. Like, if you had to speculate, man, you know, just rip a bet right now. Like, what would you say? Like, if you had to, I guess. I know it's the most open-ended question in the world, but I guess so.
I think, shit. Like, a part of me wants to say surprise album in December, but I feel like that's just...
No, that's
it's a
gonna
bit
age.
too unlikely.
No, that's gonna age like fucking sour milk.
Absolutely. You know what? I'm going to say April 2024. Around that springtime, I think we get a new Frank Ocean album. What about you?
2024.
What's your last locked-in
Very
prediction?
specific. Any reasons for that April date?
No, I just think like it's, you know, it's
just on a hunch, eh?
it's mid-spring, you know, it's
Nice time for some alternative
Yeah.
R&B music.
yeah.
Should I just say next week and fuck around and just ruin my whole prediction? No, I think maybe summer 2024.
Summer 2024. Okay.
Summer 2024. That's
That's
maybe
like the safe bet, you know, like that's if you want to really just
I'm cool. I'm a safe better.
play your cards.
Yeah, I'll play my cards right, you know. But even at that, it's such a hard thing to call because once you start getting into these Frank Ocean rollouts, you have to ask yourself, are you even in a rollout? Or where are you?
You don't even know.
You have no idea what's going on. So, guys, listen. Let us know how you feel about all of this in the comments section. Lou and I wanted to make this video because we have a lot of Frank Ocean fans, you know, in the fan base. And, you know, we have a lot of people in the community that have been asking about this album. Lou and I are massive Frank Ocean fans. We have a lot of Frank Ocean fans in our team as well. So it was quite a moment tonight. It was a moment tonight. And it's always nice to hear from a legend and someone that has just always broken the realms of music with new releases. So, guys, listen, hit the subscribe button, smash the notification bell because you better believe it. NFR is going to be covering this new rollout if there is one. So, the next time you guys hear of an update or maybe, I don't know, a new snippet being previewed or a new date that's being teased, you better believe we're going to get on this podcast and talk about it. So, much love to everyone. Thank you so much for the recent support. We love you guys. We hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.